and that committee came up with, I think, about 4 charter amendments that were passed by the voters. So that's one way of doing it. This time we have started the charter referendum process, where the council has put forth the charter amendments, but the voters are the only ones who get to decide whether or not they pass. And so that's why you will see these 2 charter amendments on the ballot on March 9th.
All right. Are there any thoughts, questions on that from anyone?
Just a comment.
Yep, go ahead.
Just a comment. I think this to have this form and this way, and also have it at the marina, is a very good project, because it gives the residents a chance to hear again what these amendments stand for, and what, if you voted no, what the results would be. And I think this is a very good, and I thank Mr. Evans, Dr. Evans, for bringing this, and also you, Ms. Marshall, and also the city attorney, Ms. Wynn, for bringing this program to us, this forum. It's very educational, and I talked to my neighbors and gave them, in case they didn't get a flyer, which many of them said they did, and I told them, please tune in, and I think they are. But thank you so much for bringing this to the forefront for all of us, so we can get a clearer understanding.
Thank you, Ms. Polk. And I know this is Ms. Polk because she is like a community champion. If anyone's going to show up, even when we don't think one is, Ms. Doretta Polk will. So thank you, because you give us confidence, really do.
I tried. You're all doing a marvelous job. You're doing a marvelous job, every one of you.
Thank you. And to that point, we made sure to offer 2 different options, because we are in a pandemic, obviously. And so those who aren't able to show up physically, you can do the virtual option. But even if you do the physical option, we will be, instituting our CDC guidelines, such as temperature checks, social distancing, masks being required. So even still, if you have questions after tonight and you want to ask them at the physical meeting, you can still do that. Again, I just ask that you register online. Just go to rivierabeach.org/vote, because we need to know how many people will show up in preparation. So with that, I don't have any additional questions. I think what I've asked is basically the common questions that we're hearing out there. If there are any other questions that you've heard in the community and you've joined us here, feel free to ask those questions as well if it piques your interest. If not, and you want to ask later, you can send a question to our email. You can email citymanagersoffice@rivierabeach.org. Again, it's city managers with an S, office@rivierabeach.org, and we'd be more than happy to reply to your email. And so with that, if there are any final remarks from the city manager or our city attorney, please go ahead and feel free.
I will defer to Ms. Wynn, ladies first, and then I'll close this out.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. The one thing that I want to bring up that Mr. Evans didn't really touch on, that I think the voters need to know, is that that provision dealing with the 50% local improvements came as a result. It's found in Florida statute, and the statute says just what our charter says, which is that 50% of local improvements shall be assessed to the benefit of property owner. What we haven't really discussed here is that the statute also says that if that were to occur, so that the example that Mr. Evans gave about the $2 million assessment on 100 homes at 100 would be about, I believe you said $100 a year, Mr. Evans. It would also require 8% interest if you did not pay on time. Or if we use bond money instead of just the cities out of the city's coffers, it would be required to be 1% over the interest required on the bond. So whatever that is, in the event that a property owner couldn't pay that, the city could foreclose on their property just like you could on a mortgage, notwithstanding the fact that the property property is homesteaded. So it's almost as if the city at that point is treated like a bank. And if you don't pay your mortgage, you know what happens. And the same thing would happen with this assessment. And so I wanted to make sure that everyone was clear regarding what the outcome could be if, in fact, we had to have these assessments against the property.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Nguyen.
You're welcome.
My goodness.
And I think that's so important to, and thank you for bringing that up, because when we look at these particular charter amendments and you're looking to amend the constitution of the city, there's always a perception as to, well, why are they trying to do this? Well, the reason that we're trying to make these modifications is that we believe that these modifications speak to some operational things that we're seeing, and it's only prudent for us to bring these before the voters for consideration. Yes. And so these sessions are so important to have the discussion and conversation as to how we can look to educate and inform the voters, because actually, and Ms. Nguyen, thank you for bringing that up. This actually went before the voters, I believe, in 2015, and I think
the last that I saw was 2008.
2008, corrected. So 2008, and did not pass. And so, when you look at those types of things, you don't know as far as the reasoning behind that, but we wanted to make sure that we did as much as we possibly could to educate and inform the voters as to what these particular charter provisions mean. And the other side of it is that there is actually a state law that prohibits local government from telling you how to vote on these charter amendments or anything that's presented to the voters. This was something that came into existence when a lot of communities were voting against, or were telling their community to vote against certain things that were being proposed on the ballot, and was coming down from Tallahassee as it relates to changes and operational things. So the state legislature didn't like that, and they put in a law that says that we are only to communicate factual information to the voters to make an informed decision. And so as your government representatives, we can only tell you that in the event that this passes or doesn't pass, this is what the impacts would be. We do have that face-to-face meeting that will occur, but we also are encouraging persons, if you have an HOA meeting or a church meeting and you still would like for staff to provide additional information or even show up to present, we are more than willing to go wherever you are or set up a digital opportunity to educate and inform all persons, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that you are well informed and well equipped to make an informed decision at that ballot box. And so anything that we can do to assist in facilitating that, we're going to certainly do that. Ms. Noel will provide you the information as to how to see some of the information that we put out. There has been copious amounts of memorandums as well as ordinances, because before we even get it onto the ballot, it requires 2 readings of an ordinance to get these items to be placed on the ballot. So there's a lot of information. If you have some time to review the information, and I assure you, if you're having a challenge sleeping at night, these documents will help facilitate that without any prescription medication, because it is quite lengthy, but it's very informative, and I think will prepare you to understand what we're talking about with regards to these items. So this will be available on our website. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, do not hesitate to visit our website to ask any questions of staff, and we will make ourselves available for any Zoom or in-person meetings as much as possible between now and the election day. So I want to thank folks for tuning in, and Ms. Noel, you can wrap us up.
Thank you. Yes, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So to Mr. Evans's point, we have a website with tons of information on it. Like I've been referencing, it's rivierabeach.org, or com in this instance, but rivierabeach.org/vote. You'll go to this webpage, and we've literally put every piece of information that we can to help you make a decision. You'll also have information about the voting locations, the request to vote by mail, which you can do. You can make that request no later than 5 p.m. on February 27th through the Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections. But we have tons of links to videos, supplemental information, and again, information on the upcoming and last community meeting that we're going to be hosting. So with that being said, we thank everyone for joining us this evening. We look forward to seeing you again if you're going to join us at our next meeting. And again, stay connected with us. We're here to inform you and help you through this process. So have a good evening, and we hope to see you again. Good night.